So, Larry, wow, what a wonderful opportunity. Here we are getting ready to launch into another summer program of courses and retreats. And so I wanted to ask you, you've interviewed several people, myself including, and I wanted to ask you, know, as I reflect on your life and your time with Baba, the greatest siddha in the 20th century. And you were his corresponding secretary. And what that means is most people might not know, but you met with him almost every day. And so I want to ask you, what was it? What did you get out of that close interaction on a daily basis that not only impacted your life, but more specifically and immediately, what are you bringing to this? How will that affect what you're going to bring to our total immersion retreat that's coming up in June?
Yes, that's an excellent question, Mark. Yes. And the first thing that came to me as you were kind of laying out the question was what I got was a steep learning curve, a very steep learning curve, because, it wasn't straightforward. It wasn't a linear path. I was constantly learning how a great Siddha master works, because he would answer the same question in a different way. So you couldn't pin it down. And then as that was happening, my learning started to kind of grow in the sense that I was getting, he's speaking to that person, not just to the question. So that was the first thing, so the guru, the teacher, the master is always about facilitating one's progress and learning and development. So a standard answer is not going to be what each person needs. So that was, thinking to myself, of course, no, but you said yesterday, and now you're saying. So it was a lot about that. And so just understanding, it's all about the path that we're on. It's all about growing, developing, moving closer to our own self. And his answers were always about that. And so I had to become incredibly flexible, to be honest with you. But then I also realized that, and I think he said it to me at a certain point in time, as I was going to ask a question of him, silly me, because I'm hearing all of these questions, he would say, why do you need to ask a question? Aren't you listening to all of these answers that I'm giving? And what are you getting from that? So listen, be present. And so it could be something as simple as, how do you deal with issues, problems? And, often it would come back to the mind, forgetting the self. So if I were to boil it down, I would say I heard him really in a very basic way, very down to earth way, teaching about see God in each other, respect yourself. And always the answer was, do the things that will align you more with your true self, and don't do the things that will take you away from the self. So scripturally, we talk about Shreyas and Preyas, Shreyas being the good, and Preyas being that which is pleasant. And how do I shift from just going for what's pleasant, sense pleasures and what have you? Not that they're bad, but in the long run, they're going to take me most likely away from my true self. How do I learn to have the strength, the willpower, the consistency to go with what's good for me? So whether a person is saying, should I spend more time in the ashram? What should I do in this relationship? My neighbor, just the range was just immense. I started to see in every case, he was saying, go for what's going to lift you, to move you forward. And even in interaction with other people, he was saying, treat them in a way that's going to be uplifting. May be difficult for you, but don't just go with your ego. Don't just go with all the things that the scriptures say. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, wow, this is my own Upanishad. You know what I mean? Through all of the, and it's like, we're talking now about the 10 principal Upanishads, and I had hundreds of Upanishads. So yeah, I learned to actually listen, be present to the highest teachings from a master. And that was going to be my journey, to be able to go with what's going to be good for me and good for others in my interaction with him. And that's, as you would well know, that's easy to say, but not so easy to do. We want to be illumined. So why do we do something that's actually bringing us down and the other person? We could go into great things because I want to talk about these things in the course. And that's when you touch on karma. That's when you talk on Dharma. That's when you talk about the true self that, Vedanta, Shaivism, Patanjali are talking about, but in a practical way, because that's what I would hear every day. People were asking questions about their lives, basically. And that was so fascinating to me. They actually weren't saying, so tell me more about Vedanta, Baba. It was always about how to live their life. So I feel really blessed and, fortunate to hear his teachings really on how to live in a way that's going to keep you on the path, knowing that it's not always easy. In fact, most of the time, it's very difficult and very challenging.
What I've heard from you today, right now, in that response, and of course, what I know about your, the greater aspect of your life, you focused on, and you have from that period to now focused on what you like to term practical wisdom. In fact, you even named your website Practical Wisdom. And
yes.
So, that's what you're bringing.
Yeah, it's right. And it's, we talk about it here. And in the course, we talk about living the teachings. So absolutely, that was exactly it. How do you live those teachings? How do you be true? How do you, in fact, live from the deepest and truest part of yourself? That is the challenge for all of us in life and on the spiritual path. That's why I often like to say, let's not use the word spiritual, just talk about living from a deep place, from the place of the inner self, which is the true self, which is who we truly are. So I found that to be something that is very important. And whether you're a monk, whether you're a householder, it really doesn't matter. In some senses, what I heard from all of that time with him is the challenges are the same. It's always the same challenge, and so you could look at Vedanta, and you can look at the Vedas, and all of that, rituals we have, which are wonderful, which are powerful, but we need to know where they come from and why, and how they can help us. So that was the other thing. He emphasized so much right understanding. If you don't understand these things, you won't be able to apply them properly. And so again and again, that's what I was getting, So when I thought the answer should be A, he was on S. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, where did that come from? So yeah, fascinating, absolutely, so powerful.
Well, this is
And I'd
great.
like to share that with people. And so I think that's going to be, whether I'm talking about Vedanta, whether I'm talking about Kashmir Shaivism, whether I'm talking about, Patanjali. And the other thing that I would say is this, and why I'm so happy and really excited about this format, this new format that Gurudev has come up with, the immersion. So 9 days of immersion. Everything before and after that I've worked with in my working life, and it my even my, social sporting life. There's this whole concept, two concepts really that strike me. One is the way you move is to immerse yourself in the teachings. The way you make progress is to immerse yourself. Don't have all of the interruptions. So yes, satsang is great, then we go away. And then we have all of these other things that's come into us. Where you really make progress is when you just go into it and you spend a period of time and that's all you're doing. So an athlete has preseason training and it's just totally immersive. I have to say that even as a soldier in the military, you have basic training. You can't go anywhere in basic training. You're just completely immersed. And I could go on with many examples, but that's why it's so important for people, as committed as they may be on the path, to have times of immersion where you just totally focus on this. The other thing that I think is really important in that immersion is recognizing the value of the Sangha, recognizing the value of the Sangha. As I studied academically, organizations and team dynamics and personal dynamics and all of that, there's a principle, it's called synergy. And synergy is when a group of people get together and you get more from the group than you would from any individual. And we know that to be the case, but of course you have to work well together. But I think that's the other things that you get when you have something like this immersion program. You may hear the most brilliant, insightful, illuminating comment from someone in the course, not from you or me or Gurudev, but someone who says, yeah, this happened to me, and this is what I learned from that. And you or I hear and we go, wow, that is so powerful. So that's all a part of the immersion, and I'm really, really looking forward to that and hope that other people are realizing that's an incredible value that we get from our Sangha. People are on the same path and we have like minds, different situations, but like minds. Great opportunity.
Wow. I'm looking forward to being at this immersion retreat.
Yes, that's what it's about, immersion.
We hope all of you are looking forward to being there with us.
Mm.
We're going to have a very significant bump forward because, as you say, that is what total immersion tends to do. So thank you, Larry. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. My
and
pleasure.
We'll have another conversation about this as we go forward.
Yes, look forward to it. Really look forward to it.
Yes.